Hi everyone, I just landed in Milan yesterday and I'm here for the 2026 Winter Olympics Milano Cortina. I want to take you along with me to show you everything that we do this week, from the opening ceremony, skiing, snowboarding, hockey, and figure skating. I am so excited, and honestly, this city is so beautiful already. Can you see all of the mountains behind me? They're so pretty. I think it's going to be an awesome week and I'm so excited. My journey from DC to Milan went overnight through Newark and Brussels, and luckily I was able to use some United points to upgrade to Polaris so I could get a little bit of sleep along the way. From Brussels to Milan, the view of the Alps was so beautiful. It just got me even so much more excited to be in the mountains in a few days. I landed in Milano Linate and I quickly went straight to my hotel, grabbed a bite to eat, and then headed right out the door to our first Olympics event. Because even though the opening ceremony wasn't until the next day, Friday, some of the sports begin competing as early as the Wednesday before. So we headed out to see the USA women's hockey team against Czechia. Even just arriving at that first venue was so exciting despite how tired I was. And I must say the setup was really interesting because we had to walk literally a mile in this building before reaching the rink. And we were getting so impatient, like, where is this place? But when we finally made it, it was so cool. The atmosphere was just electric. And I love being able to say in retrospect that I got to see the Olympics gold medal winning women's hockey team during their first game in the competition. After the game, we headed to the center of Milan to explore a little bit and also find some dinner. Even just coming out of that metro station was so exciting because it was our first look at all of the lights and decorations set up in the center of Milan. It was also my first time seeing the Duomo, and how it was lit up at night was just so beautiful. And we actually didn't make it to the place that we had tried to go to because there were some roadblocks in place and we just couldn't figure out how to get around the crowds. So we ended up at a place called Signor Vino Milano, and the food was really good. So if you're in Milan, I do recommend checking this place out. Then we headed back to our hotel to get some rest before the next big day ahead of us, and it was raining, but I honestly didn't care. I was just so happy to be there. The next day we slept in a little bit as it was the only day we could really do so. We had a quick breakfast on the roof and then headed back to the center to do some sightseeing and also check out the fan experiences. With so many people there for the games, there were understandably a lot of long lines, so we didn't go inside the Duomo, but it was still cool to see from the outside. We then walked into the iconic luxury shopping center, the Galleria Vittorio Emanuele II. This gem of 19th century Renaissance revival architecture is also known to be Italy's oldest active shopping center. It's so beautiful in here. And while I'm not much of a luxury shopper myself, I still really enjoyed visiting. We then went to check out some of the fan zone experiences. We started out at the Casa Corona because my friend that I was with loves Corona. Like, every time I travel with her, that's what she's drinking. There were lots of seating areas, lush green plants, a DJ booth, and of course different themed items like pillows and blankets, and they were also serving some food. We didn't stay long though because we wanted to see what some of the other fan zone experiences were like, so we went over behind the Sforzesco castle, which had this fan zone area set up. There were areas for people to play games and interact with different brands, and most of them had lines and didn't really seem worth waiting, but we went in the one that didn't have a line for Visa, and honestly it was kind of weird and just like this AI DJ. Just outside of this fan zone though was the Peak by Coca-Cola, which also had a big line, but I heard was actually really cool, so I decided to wait in the 45-minute line. Once inside, they had a little museum area with Coca-Cola themed ski gear, Olympic torches, places where you could get pictures with Olympic torches. I also got my first pin here, which I chose Livigno because that's where we were headed in a couple of days. And then what I was most excited about was this machine where you could custom print a Coca-Cola can with your face on it. Finally, as I walked out, they also gave you a little Coca-Cola beanie. I then headed back to the hotel because it was time for the games to officially begin. We're going to the opening ceremony! Let's go! We hopped on the metro because it was the best way to get there, but man, was this thing packed. I honestly don't think anyone on a stop after us got in. Once we got to the stadium, there were a ton of long lines and security, but it actually moved really quickly. We made it in! When we saw what tickets we were assigned in the app, we were actually kind of confused. So we bought the cheapest opening ceremony tickets available, and somehow it looks like our tickets are on the 100 level, like right in the front, and I have no idea how this is possible. We're gonna have to see
if it's like real or not. I don't think it's real.
As we made our way to the section where our seats were, we realized that it was in fact real, and we were in the 16th row in the 100 section. Our theory is that even though we bought C-tier tickets, we bought them back in August, so we think they may have just started filling in the A-tier unsold tickets to people who bought them earlier. Because there were two people in front of us who were in the exact same boat and just as astounded that they had such incredible seats. So next time I go to the Olympics, I'm definitely booking as early as possible. As my first opening ceremony, this experience was so special and I just had such an incredible time. There were fun touches like everyone getting these bracelets that were blinking in the crowd, and overall the performances and the art put into the show was just incredible. The next day, before we headed to our skating events, I decided to try to go check out the mega store in the center of town, and the line was so crazy. There was no way I was gonna make it, so I ended up just heading back to the hotel, grabbed some lunch, and then we headed out to speed skating. I was so excited because, fun fact, my roommate in college was actually an Olympic speed skater last time Italy hosted the Olympics, and we also splurged on some last-minute discounted hospitality tickets. As we walked into the lounge, they handed us a glass of Prosecco and a speed skating pin. There were two main seating areas with lots of things to do, like playing games, a photo area with an Olympic torch, a mini store where you could do some shopping, and of course, lots of really good food. I went with the hot bar that had polenta with pork, as well as some quinoa, cheese, and salami. When it was time to head to the competition, another perk is that we got our own private entrance directly from the hospitality area into the venue. Our seats were also really good and we were in the second row. It was so cool watching speed skating as it was something I've never watched in person, and I think that's one of the most fun things about the Olympics. This was also a podium event and we got to see Italy receive their first gold medal of the games. We then headed over to the figure skating stadium to watch the men's team short program. We somehow got really lucky with our seats again because we bought the cheapest tier and we were second row. This was such a fun event because one, figure skating is just so impressive, but two, we got to see Milan, the quad god himself, compete, who, fun fact, I actually got to meet briefly at the Italian embassy back in October. He was so genuine and kind even in our short interaction, and I'm sincerely rooting for him. I know he's going to continue to do great things. The next morning we were up bright and early and out the door to drive 3.5 hours to Livigno for the leg of the trip that I was personally most excited about. We were headed up to see big air snowboarding and freestyle skiing, and as someone who grew up skiing myself, this was such a dream come true. The ride there was also so beautiful. I just love the mountains and seeing all these snow-covered peaks. It really made me so happy. It was too early to check into our hotel and our event wasn't until 7 p.m. so we went to go get some lunch, and then I got some rental skis myself and went up to the mountain. I ended up spending the entire afternoon skiing, and my goodness, this place is so beautiful. I cannot recommend skiing in Livigno enough. We then finally went to go get checked into our hotel and headed straight out for big air snowboarding women's qualifiers. And boy, was it cold out there.
It's so cold! It's so cold! But we're bundled up.
On the walk over, we also saw this fan village area with a bunch of igloos, but we didn't stop because we didn't have that much time before the event began. Once inside the competition area, we headed right into the Corona house, in part just to stay warm before the snowboarding began. And after a few minutes there, we headed over to the viewing area at the bottom of the slope for big air. There wasn't any sort of assigned seating here, so we were kind of behind a big crowd, but we still got a good view of the snowboarders, and it was so incredible to just see how they flip in the air from so high up. And after a bit, we actually moved to this area over on the side where we got to be a lot closer. The whole venue was pretty much outdoors, so we were getting pretty cold, so we went into this little warming area where they also had free charging lockers for people to use, which was really nice. When the competition wrapped up, we walked back through the town to our hotel. We stayed at a place called Park Chalet Village, where we basically had this 3-story cabin all to ourselves.
So glad to be back. Oh my god. That was so much fun. I really should have worn something warmer. I just didn't expect it. But we made it. And we also have a sauna and a huge bathtub downstairs. So I'm gonna sauna, take advantage of the tub to warm up. Look at that. It is calling me. And ooh, already warm in there. You know I love a good sauna.
The The next morning, I got up for our final full day and had this beautiful breakfast spread at our hotel in this dining area overlooking the mountains before heading out once again to the competition area for the women's skiing freestyle slopestyle final. It was a beautiful sunny day and I was wearing much warmer pants, so I was way more comfortable this time around. Watching this freestyle competition was such a highlight of my trip. I just love watching people ski and go off jumps, and I also just love seeing how people show up to celebrate and support athletes from their country. We also got to see Eileen Gu compete and win silver, which was just such an incredible experience. On our way back to the hotel, before we needed to check out, we did stop at that fan zone to grab a bite to eat. I must say, there's nothing like hot cheese and potatoes when you're cold. And with that, we were headed back to Milan and our Olympics adventure was over.
Overall, I had such a great week in Milan and Livigno for the Olympics. It was such a dream come true. Since I was a little kid, I've been following the Olympics and I really love winter sports. So honestly, it was just such a dream. Thanks for coming along with me. And now I'm wondering if you can guess what my next stop is. If you follow me on Instagram, you already know where I am. But if you don't, you can check it out, or you can wait for the next video to come out to see where I'm adventuring. Let me know your feedback in the comments. And if you want more content like this, please let me know and where I should go and visit next.